In the last lesson, which I haven't posted, I talk about sites, so I didn't do anything with the model. But we looked at some drawings, we looked at the context of this building as it lives between Tremont Street and Warren Avenue, which is at the back of it on the north side of Tremont Street. And then you have the Boston Ballet Building and the Mills Gallery adjacent on this side. Here I'm going to talk about modeling the roof. We're looking at a very simple idea, structure, if you will. These are ribs. What comes to mind is an umbrella, right? Something of that. So somehow or other, there's a shape that occurs at regular intervals, which we can determine and then replicate over that interval however many times. There are two ways of going about it, right? So in plan, this represents a polygon with how many sides? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 sides. So one thing we could do in SketchUp, and let's go back to SketchUp. I've saved out a couple of scenes here so that we could look at just the AutoCAD plan. Let's go through the view of the building, isometric view of the model. Okay, so we're missing a couple columns over here, but that's okay. So somehow, the circle tool in SketchUp allows you, let's just measure the distance across here to there. So 134 feet is the approximate diameter of this thing. Let's make sure we got the furthest one. We measured the building in Google Earth about 150 feet wide, so that makes sense. Let's call it 140 feet. If I draw a circle with a center anywhere, before I start drawing it, look at the right bottom corner. The information window is asking how many sides do you want. Let's try 4. What do you think it's going to draw? Right. If instead I ask it to draw 16 sides, it's going to give me, what was it, 134 feet, half of which is 134 67. It's going to give me, I've done that wrong. No. Top. That's about right. It's going to give me a shape like that. What can I do with that? Well, one thing I can do is determine its center. You do that by drawing a line to an endpoint, and then it gives you the center. I don't know why it just doesn't give you the center automatically. And then I'm going to draw a vertical line just to place this in 3D. So what I want to draw now, without looking at other photographs, we could look at some other pictures and understand that rib, what that rib looks like. But let's say we're modeling something that's about the size of an umbrella. Let's look at the section through the building to sort of get a sense of the height. section through the building orthographics. See why these scenes are important. So this thing's going to climb up into the air from the turret about, rock, can I hold? Yeah, I can constrain it to about 30 feet. Or whatever, to that. Element at the top here. I don't think I remember seeing it in Google Earth. Anyway, so what that means is that when I go back to my isometric view of the model, I want the height of that line to be 30 feet. Let's just draw it up all over again. 30 feet, 8 inches, I think we measured. 30 feet, 8. Enter. Okay, so you can guess that I'm going to use, create a profile and do a follow me around. This is going to be my path, that shape. Right? I don't need that part of the dome, that part of the, nor do I need this line. But I do need to draw a curve or, some shape. Or I did need that line. Let's undo that. No, I don't need that. I do need to draw some kind of shape. Let's make it simple for ourselves. I'm going through a midpoint of one of these facets, and then that line is an endpoint. And let's go to front view, back view. Left. The geometry is getting in the way. My mouse is snapping to the left. Left. No, that's not going to help. We need front or back. It's on the blue axis. So that's about the shape of the thing. It's a little confusing because I have all this geometry on, but I want to show the context of what we're doing. So there's the rib, and if I draw a line to the point from where I started it to where it is, I have this shape, this profile that I can now revolve around this, around that shape. Am I able to select it? I think I can do that. Okay, so follow me. Sorry, select the path first. Follow me, and then this shape. Only selected part of it. Let's try again. All I need is the path, so I want to deselect this stuff. Okay, there's a path. Follow me and use that shape to revolve it. So what it does with a circle, even though it's faceted, it smooths it out. You can change the face, the edge style to uncheck profile. No, I want to see this. let's see, X-ray. I want to remove, but anyway, so what it does is it kind of smooths that out. That's not as useful for us. But we can do this slightly differently. If I start with a polygon and not a circle, right? A polygon is not the approximation. I can select polygon and then type in the number of sides I want. 16 sides. What was the 67 feet? That's about the radius of it, right? And set up the same apparatus. I can't get the center unless I do an endpoint. Z-axis 30 feet 8. And now I need a shape to revolve. I don't want that line. I want a line to the midpoint of the segment. I'll explain why a little bit later. So this line to that segment to there. And now the arc that I'm going to draw is going to join those points and be on the blue axis. Notice how all the rest of this geometry healed in the form of a face, which we don't need. Now this shape, which is interrupted there, so I have to select that as well. That's going to be the path around which I want to revolve this rib. Follow me and use that. So there's your umbrella. How complex do you need for this roof to be? We can show there's a way of subtracting a circular shape through the middle of it, but for all intents and purposes, for the most part, if we triple click this, make it a component, well, we're not going to need to reproduce it. We could have made it a group. Ribbed roof, dome, right? And then we can place it from one of these points. I don't know that I drew this the correct orientation, so we might have to rotate it a bit. But because SketchUp snaps the 3D, you can pretty much it's about right. Okay. We need to rotate it a bit to sync up with the column. But for all intents and purposes, for the most part, we've modeled the roof enclosure. Let's save that as lesson 8. I believe that's lesson.